Anaxes was one of the most important worlds in the core, a stronghold of the Republic Navy for tens of thousands of years. It was an extremely hard target, but a tempting one due to its location, history, and role in the Navy. During the Clone Wars, not even this most defended of core worlds was spared the fury of the CIS, and the skies above Anaxes played host to some of the fiercest battles of the war. In this video, we'll be telling the story of those battles and elaborating on what made them so important.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Anaxes was located along the coremost leg of the Polemian trade route, just a few stops away from Coruscant, Alderaan, Chandrila, and many other ancient, wealthy core worlds. It was a member of the Republic since its founding, but during the Galactic Government's early years, it was overshadowed by another planet in its system, Axum, the first world in the system to be settled and one of the wealthiest planets in the galaxy. In the years before the Republic, Axum had been the heart of the Azure Imperium, one of the many pre-Republic human empires, while Anaxes had been its fist. When the Azure Empire became part of the Republic, Axum remained a hub of wealth and power, while Anaxes remained a military outpost, famed for its military shipyards. However, in 24,000 BBY, the Republic changed forever. It began when Republic scouts moving down the Polemian made contact with another major civilization, the lost human colonists of the Tyon cluster. While the Republic was a peaceful alliance at the time with no standing military, the Tyonese had a long history of piracy and conquest, and after having suffered several brutal defeats at the hands of the Hutts in recent millennia, they saw the Republic as an easy target for ripe conquest. Their warships poured down the Polemian trade route, eager to loot the defenseless core. But as world after world on the Polemian fell to the Tyonese, the Republic was preparing a counteroffensive, and it was to begin at Anaxes. As the Tyonese forces advanced, the Anaxes shipyards had been put to work building a new Republic Navy, and as the Tyon Jacks poured into the core worlds, the new ships set out from Anaxes to drive them back. After years of fighting, the Tyonese were driven back. They returned with more fleets, but every subsequent Tyonese offensive was driven off by ships from Anaxes. Over the course of the century-long Tyonese War, Anaxes was the site of many battles, but the Republic won every last one. It was essential in securing eventual Republic victory in the Tyonese War. The Tyonese War changed the Republic forever, and it left a permanent mark on Anaxes. It had become more than the shipyard of the former Azure Imperium. Forever after, Anaxes was the defender of the core, the bulwark of the Republic Navy, and the guardian of Coruscant. Over the course of the next 24,000 years, its prominence only grew. It became home to the Anaxes War College, the Republic Navy's most prestigious institutions, and numerous military families with long and honorable histories. In time, it eventually even came to overshadow Axum. Anaxes kept Coruscant safe in conflict after conflict, maintaining its status as defender of the core in both the old and new Sith Wars. When the Clone Wars began, Anaxes shot back into prestige. Though the new Republic Navy was to be built by Kuat drive yards, Anaxes became its foremost stronghold once again. And it was apparent from the beginning that the defender of the core would be tested yet again. At the start of the war, numerous separatist enclaves formed in the core worlds, breaking the trends set by millennia of previous conflicts. These holdings were small, but some of them were in uncomfortable positions. The Techno-Union-owned shipyards of Forost, for example, were right in Coruscant's backyard. At the start of the war, these small holdings were blockaded. Anaxes became the headquarters of the 1st Sector Army, which patrolled Sector 0, the very heart of the Republic, enforcing these blockades. And for the first year and a half of the war, the separatists in the core were pretty much contained. But that didn't last. In 20 BBY, separatist invasion fleets under the command of General Grievous began an assault on the core worlds named Operation Dirge's Lance. These circumvented Anaxes by attacking from the south, breaking Republic lines at Duro, and rampaging across the southern core. Grievous didn't get any further than Alderaan, But as his campaign entered its later stages, another Separatist core campaign was brewing. It began with the breaking of the Foremost blockade. The Separatists at Foremost, it turned out, had been sitting on their hands for the past year and a half. Under the command of Admiral Duaningo, they had been making new Bulwark-class battleship. They had been making new Bulwark-class battlecruisers. Huge warships with so much armor that they could ram smaller capital ships with impunity. In fact, they did precisely that when they roared out of space dock in 20 BBY, attacking the Republic blockade without warning. Admiral Ningo and his Bulwark fleet trounced the naval forces the Republic had assembled at Foremost, and just like that, there was a Separatist fleet loose in Sector Zero. In response, the Republic called forth the Victory Fleet, a task force of brand new Victory-class Star Destroyers which were rushed into service 6 months early to deal with the crisis. The task force was commanded by two of the Republic's most promising captains, Jan Dodona and Terranald Screed. They battled Admiral Ningo to a draw all across Sector Zero, fighting to a draw at Ixtla, Basilisk, and Alsacan before they managed to corner the wily Celestin above Anaxes. There, the Bulwark fleet and the Victory fleet tore into each other in high orbit above the planet. The fighting was fierce and the casualties were high. Damage sustained by Screed's flagship caused an explosion on the bridge that scarred the captain for life, forcing him to receive cybernetic enhancements after the battle. But even as Screed was taken out of commission, Dodona saw an opening. He led what was left of the Victory fleet in a final offensive, subjecting Ningo's flagship to sustained fire. The ship was destroyed and the Admiral was vaporized with it. The rest of the Bulwark fleet was destroyed in short order, and Dodona and Screed were hailed as heroes. But this wasn't the only battle of Anaxes to take place during the Clone Wars. Later in the war, Separatist forces attacked Anaxes again, this time landing invasion armies on the surface and focusing their efforts on the planet's shipyards. This invasion effort was led by Admiral Trench, who came to Anaxes with a massive fleet, consisting of at least 7 Munificent-class star frigates, 6 DH Omni support vessels, 2 Recusant-class destroyers, and 3 Providence-class carrier/destroyers, including Trench's flagship, the Invulnerable. This fleet was supported by Vulture droids, Hyena bombers, HMP gunships, and a massive ground army. While Mace Windu took command of Republic ground forces, Anakin Skywalker was put in charge of the naval battle, presumably alongside a number of Republic naval officers. The Republic Defense Fleet consisted of at least 7 Venator-class Star Destroyers, 7 Arquitens-class light cruisers, and 3 Consular-class cruisers, supported by Z-95 Headhunters, ARC-170s, BTLB Y-Wing bombers, ETA-2 light interceptors, and LAAT gunships. The naval battle was fierce, and casualties were heavy. Republic forces fought hard, but Trench quickly attained the upper hand and kept it. At every turn, his forces outmaneuvered the Republic's, in space as well as on the ground. Republic naval forces suffered heavy casualties, with at least 2 Star Destroyers and 1 cruiser confirmed destroyed. Things were starting to look grim when Republic Command discovered how Trench had managed to maintain such an advantage. He was using an algorithm developed by Captain Rex, Fives, and Echo of the 501st Legion, which the Separatists had access to through Echo, who was a prisoner of the Techno Union on Skakro Minor. With the help of the Bad Batch, however, Skywalker was able to rescue Echo from his captors, taking away Trench's ace in the hole. They devised a plan to use Echo to lure Trench into a trap at Anaxes' main shipyards, which involved Echo, Skywalker, and the Bad Batch boarding the Invulnerable to make it look like Echo's transmissions were coming from Skakro Minor. The plan worked, and most of Trench's ground army was remotely deactivated by Echo using the Invulnerable's command systems, all but thwarting the invasion. Trench, however, wasn't finished. He activated a bomb he had ordered to be placed in the lower levels of the shipyards, which threatened to destroy most of Anaxes if it detonated. Echo tried to transmit the deactivation codes to General Windu, but Trench was able to narrow down where he was broadcasting from and take him out of commission. But then, Skywalker took matters into his own hands. He stormed up to the bridge and forced Trench to give up the codes before killing the Admiral and rigging the Invulnerable's reactor to detonate. As Republic forces on Anaxes' surface drove off what remained of the Separatist force, Skywalker and the Bad Batch fled the Invulnerable remotely detonating its reactor once they had passed a safe distance. The resultant explosion destroyed a sizable chunk of the Separatist fleet, the remainder of which was driven off in short order. So that's the story of the Battle of Anaxes. The first one is from Legends and the second from Canon, but since they're clearly meant to be two distinct battles, we decided to discuss them both. Anyway, what do you think? Would you like to see more content about Anaxes in the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.